right, 3, 2, 1, and here we go. All right, my name is Lerard Smalls, and oh yes, this is Rise of the Black Warrior podcast. Whether you're watching me right now or you're listening on the just the audio, I want to thank you. I don't know you personally, but I know something about you. You're freaking awesome for taking time to have a conversation with someone through the ether, right? To listen in, and even if you can't talk back right now, that I can't hear you right now, we are in the spirit and we connected. And I'm so grateful that we did. All right, so let's dive into this conversation today. I got something real big, and I guess big is a great way to get this thing started. And we're going to talk about the size of a man. We're going to talk about the size of the man's privacy parts, right? When I was a kid, they used to call it your privacy, right? Don't touch my privacy, right? So we're not talking about the man parts, right? What we're talking about is the size of a man in recognition, the size of a man in significance in the world that he lives in. How do you measure how big a man was based on his life? How do you measure a man in his present state right now, in his stature? Now, we're not talking about height or weight or muscle. We're talking about bigness in terms of his presence and his value in the world. And I'm here to challenge you with this thought, that a man is only as big as the problems that he faces, the problems that he's willing to take on and challenge. That's the size of a man. See, if you look back in history and some of the greatest men in the world who have done some of the most awesome, amazing things, you can acknowledge that the reason why we recognize these men as being great for any reason is because they took on a big-ass problem. And the size of the problem and the willingness to face it is really that's the magnitude in which we respect that man. Somebody who took on, racial injustice and slavery and took risks on. Somebody who took on, freedom fighting. Somebody who took on the big banks. Somebody who took on politics from a high level. Somebody who went against the grain, fought for women's rights. Whatever you did based on the size of that problem will determine how many streets get named after you if you get a Nobel Prize. See, you look at brothers and kings like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the freedom fighters, and those type of men. You look at men like Barack Obama, no matter what you feel about his politics or anything. These are men who took on big things. They challenged the status quo. They took on big fights. They're willing to step up and put their neck on the line. And they face big problems. You think that they're worried about who might have scratched their car, who keyed their car, who stepped on their toe? You think they worried about their dry cleaners or what somebody thinks about their clothes? Or somebody thinks about what kind of car they drive? See, there's too many men, black and brown men in this country. Now, I'm sure there's men of all races, but I'm talking specifically to the heart of black and brown men who spend their time thinking too much about little things. They taking on little problems, very little problems, when they have the capability and the capacity to take on monstrous ones, to really exercise the power of their bigness, to gain significance in this world and make the creator proud, make themselves proud, be big. Because they took on big problems, because you could be taking on big problems. But see, in your world right now, if you're worrying about the small stuff, if you're sweating small shit every single day, then you don't have a chance to take on the big things, to be big. You should be big. You should be going after things that people can't even fathom. See, a man who's dealing with issues like global warming, Sir Richard Branson, taking on challenges globally, things that there's no precedence for, to how to solve. Willing to build schools and environments where there's hostility. willing to do things that have never been done before to create results that people can appreciate for generations beyond that they will even live in. When a man is building something that he knows he will not even see because it's so big, that's a giant. A man build a legacy saying, listen, I'm building this now. Think about Henry Ford. Henry Ford got to see a glimpse, a little shadow of what he built. Henry Ford only saw a little microcosm of what he would do. The Wright brothers. Think about what they were building, what they were trying to create, and what they were trying to take on, the problems they was trying to solve. Woo! These were kings. These were men that were trying to build things that meant something. They were taking on problems that were ginormous. Yeah, I said that. Ginormous. It's my word. So, today, challenge yourself. I want you to dig deep. Think about the problems that you're talking about in your life. For those that are using the stack tool, think about some of the stuff that you're stacking. For those that are processing it, whether you're talking to a coach, or you're talking to your wife or your significant other, your friends, whoever you're talking to, think about the problems that you complain about. What's the size of those problems on the grand scheme of things on the world? How many people does it impact? Now that will let you know. You don't need another man to tell you if you're being big. Look at the problems that you're facing on a daily basis. The things that you're trying to solve and the things that you're building and trying to create. If those things do not impact more than just you and your world, you're probably not living big enough. All right. That's what I got, guys. Guys and gals, princes, princesses, kings and queens. I appreciate y'all just spending this time with me. All right? My name is Lerod Smalls. I'm Black Warrior King. I'm so excited that you guys took this time. So, if you want more, if you want to tune in more, definitely follow us on iTunes and on Spotify. Subscribe and like us on YouTube. And if you want the whole library, you want to check the whole thing out, you can go to podcast.riseoftheblackwarrior.net. We .net for the podcast. All right? And that is it. That wraps up this episode, and I hope that you got some value from it. Peace.